determine the roadmap that will enable them actualize all the benefits in the 4 more agenda points. So we won't be waiting for the governor. We have heard you, all that you want to do. You also heard me, all I want to do. This is now the time for us to begin to initiate policies, initiate the roadmap towards achieving that policy, and also ensuring that the pathway to ensuring that delivery of the services are better off going forward, and maybe even faster. These are very key issues. I know that most times people want to clap, they don't want to hear criticisms, but it is important that because we are in the learning environment, we should not be clapping for ourselves all the time. Sometimes you woo, so that we can then maybe go back and get better. But honestly...
Okay, so Dr. Frank Uwugo, please. Thank you so much. Okay, more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator.
Dr. Frank Uwugo, please. Just for a minute. Mr. Uwugo, I only want you to intervene for just a minute, please. Dr. Uwugo, sorry. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Yes, I stand with the show of my chairman, who have eloquently given you our roadmap. As a way of privilege given to me, our focus, without repeating what he has said, to look at our informal sector. Our informal sector will look at what we can do. We have gotten certain database as of today through the instrumentality of coordination and peer review. We have a population of about 1.6 million that are in that sector that are yet to be exploited. We are trying to capture them into the tax net to ensure that even if it's one naira, we'll get some money.
That's already said.
Now, in the land area, we are trying to exploit, apart from the issue of what we are doing now, capital.
Please, can we all listen, please?
Capital
please.
gains tax.
Let's remember that this event is being streamed live. Please, it's being streamed live. Thank you.
Capital gain tax. Before now, we have not delved into that area at all. And we discovered that a lot of people own their lands. Some people are buying land 1 million naira and selling 50 million. And nothing's come to government from that process. Through the instrumentality of capital gain tax, we generate a lot of money from that source. Stamp duty, by definition, every document evidencing transaction is stampable. And we have not exploited that, we are going to exploit it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. SSG, can you please just round up, please? Thank you very much.
First, I want to stand by Okemo. Head of service, I want to stand by Okemo's position. Yes. And I know that the appraisal system should have a way to accommodate the services, the inputs of the political class. I don't know how you are going to do that, but it's important. Our civil servants are one of the best, and I say so. My special assistant in the last 12 years is a civil servant. It's not my relation. It's an Isoko man. And I will take him anywhere. I have always told him I don't love him, but I love his output. And that's what he's hired to do. So where he derails, I deal with that decisively. So I'm also sure that there are very many good people in the civil service. All we just need to do is to strengthen that end. So that input from the political class may just make a difference. Let us not politicize it. Now, let me commend the panelists. First, Agric. You have spoken well. I've worked with you. You are very aggressive. But there are a lot of critical things we need to do in your area. Agric, there's need for a land bank. You can't build on nothing without a land bank. We have been attempting to do a land bank in the last 6 years. We are part of it. We made a lot of progress. We should build on that progress. It's very important. It's not everything that we talk about resources. PIN Foundation will fund this aspect of it because it's a technical input. So look at that. Secondly, the new agric policy that expired has expired and they brought in a new one. It was single-handedly funded by PIN Foundation. We need to operationalize and implement that. It was a major input during the transition committee. And I think we must go back to that transition document because it wasn't a joke. I was very excited and work on it. I was very excited when DSIR spoke about that. I'm happy you dealt with that in your area. I'm also happy that you talked about collaboration. Only recently in Kigali, I had the privilege of traveling with the governor. And Sanwo-Olu said that these oil companies have been playing games with all the oil producing states. They come back to Lagos and say they have paid in Delta or they have paid in Bayelsa. And yet, they have not paid in these areas and they are not paying to Lagos. So sharing of data is an integral part of it. So please work closely with the governor. Tell him that this was a high point in Kigali and that you need to get in touch with your colleague at the other end to see how we can make a very good use of it. And that's where the collaboration issue comes in. But beyond that, beyond going through the transition committee, we want you to have timelines on all the things we talked about at that transition committee. We need to have timelines, document them. Timelines can just be a guide. But if you want to continue to do them as it crops up or as a matter of urgency, you are going to run into trouble. Itemize them, treat them according to urgent and important status as it is. Because that is the only way, and get Okemo to work with you closely. You may be independent, but Okemo is very knowledgeable about this area. And let the governor sign off on these timelines and for implementation. That way, all your monthly performance reviews will be capturing those timelines for results. We'll be capturing your budget, look at the budget, look at the variances, and let's actuals, and let's know why there are variances. And then we'll begin to run on that. So we believe that that is an area you must run on. How do we now see recommendation of ABAMI that it is the responsibility of DSIR to collect all taxes, including the ones from MDA? The challenge before you is how do you collaborate with them seamlessly to the extent that you don't hurt their ego, you don't hurt their pockets or benefits, and you generate more revenue for the state? I think that is a major target that you must have. If you don't have it, then we're not starting. Because if you look at that statistics, 14% of that comes from MDAs. It has grown over the period. So we think we can do much more. But there are a lot of leakages in that area. Education tax, a lot of leakages in that area. So you must stand up to it and share benefits with them. I'm sure those incentives can help us get out of that. HOS, you have done so well. So how now do your people serve us better? Because they are already serving us well. How do we do that? Where does your Servicom lie? How do you look at your turnaround time in every MDA, in all the processes, and remove the bottleneck bureaucracy that we have been talking about? I only cite example with Microsoft. Microsoft, the workforce in Microsoft is bigger than what you have here. And they are not as big a bureaucracy as we are. So you must begin to look at our processes and streamline them for results. Because we've all learned today that every subset is an integral part of the whole. So once you slow down that service, you didn't send a voucher on time. They did not process the voucher on time. They didn't make that payment on time. The end point has suffered. 2 days ago, I got a lot of calls. And I said, what happened? And I asked the PS, political and security. He said, I've given this to this. I've not heard from them. I didn't wait for him to go. I marched to the person they said they gave it to. He said, I'm waiting for the voucher. You see a huge disconnect in what we're doing. So service delivery is in the heart of everything. Investment. I know that you are an Air Force officer. I know that you speak well. You understand what you're doing. But the starting point is good knowledge of what exists, potentials, and a SWOT analysis of the state to better make an informed decision. Why do I say so? We have pockets of documents clearly stating where to invest in Delta State. So much has been done previously. Why don't we just put them together and begin to draw from those potential, from the potential that we have? Sit down with the governor, right? Send it to him and let him sign off on the areas he will want you to look at. You can't chase everything. It's not possible to chase everything. Then you now have a document that sells Delta. As you are now, you can't sell Delta because you have a limited knowledge of Delta. And that's a statement of fact. It is not because you are not intelligent, but because you don't have a document that speaks to those things. You must pick them out. So can this be one of your major deliverables? It's very important. Economic planning. State energy policy, very good, but you practically not on paper. And then you must look at that, look at her uniqueness. It can work very good in Lagos, but Lagos is not Delta. Lagos, Edo is not Delta. So please, as we look at this, let us not, going to do the amendment, I agree. Let us also get external, proven professionals to look at what we are doing. Because today, power is not about the document. It's about the person you bring to midwife it. They can't just finish midwifing and you are looking for investors. They should midwife, implement, and come with investors, finance them to come. But if they finish and drop it for you, they have left you with the burden. They are just mere consultants. They're actually salespeople. They are not marketing people. So that's my short contribution.
Thank you so much, SSG. Thank you for your in-depth contribution. Before we leave, we will hear from the head of service for just 10 seconds. But SSG, it's important that I sort of hop on some of the points raised by both you and Okemwa, head commissioner of finance. It's very clear that in a performance management framework that is robust, there are rewards and there are sanctions. And I'm sure the head of service will speak to that. Regarding the commissioner of budget, sorry, I keep using budget, for economic planning, I didn't hear you say anything about budget reforms. You need to take it back and please let it be one of your key priorities. And then for investments, it was very key. You need to know the terrain. A lot has been done by the past administration. Let us even see if there are things, and in doing it, you might actually get people. Because those that put it together, one or two of them may be your part of your new team, so it's really important. And like I said, if you can control the narrative and influence perceived value, is very, very key. Chairman of Board of Revenue, your executive director has put some more light on the areas you guys want to focus on. Commissioner of Agric, he told you clearly, you must have the land map. It's not what he said. Land map bank. So there must be a bank. So that is one of your assignments that you'll take away in your take-homes. Our policy, everything here has to be aligned. They'll be consistent and they'll be aligned, isn't it? Continuously. Head of service, final thoughts. 10 seconds.
Madam,
please.
thank you. I think I want to make it simple. The simplifying the government processes must start with us. It's a mindset thing. But beyond that, we also, it derives from leadership. We need to be consistent and be clear in whatever we do and communicate it very clearly. Sometimes I tell my staff that there are some routine matters that you don't need to bother me with, and they need to understand that. We also tell some of our staff too that there are some things you need to take responsibility for. Well, there is a danger in that because where it comes to, I'm sorry, but I need to personalize it a bit. It comes back to the leadership, where somebody at the leadership, whether you've given the authority even to the junior staff to approach the leadership, and the leadership is overriding the layer of authority, it becomes a problem. And the other man who is in the middle wants to assert himself and say, yes, it mustn't happen like that because it's not working. So it's a chain. It's not just one way. We need to examine ourselves and speak to it. Then in terms of discipline, I want to correct one impression, very important, and that's what I've been arguing. When you're talking about sanctions, you also have to look at your reward system. Let's face it, even the brilliant civil servants we've been talking about, how have we rewarded them exceptionally beyond the normal way? No, let's be honest with it. Then you now dwell on the disciplinary part. But where I stand on that disciplinary part is that discipline is a process. You don't take a sledgehammer to kill a fly. when you can make that fly leave and not enter whatever it wants to go and enter. I don't know, I'm using metaphor again. So what we find sometimes from our political masters, he just say, somebody had an infraction. He's had many years of service. You don't know whether that morning, I'm sorry to say, I'm personalizing it, not from my own experience, derived. Maybe his wife upset him that day, and he messed up on the job. And you say because of that infraction, he must go.
I'm happy you mentioned that.
Yes, I haven't finished. Please. I'm being passionate about this, and don't mind me. Sometimes when I'm talking like this, and I'm speaking loud and I'm shouting, it's because I'm passionate. I had an opportunity to sponsor a memo to ESCO. I didn't talk about the reward part. I was talking about the disciplinary part. And I asked that question. Show me a saint who was never a sinner. Nobody in ESCO could show me that. Then the second part, I told the then governor, you are a medical doctor. You know this man is an armed robber. He is brought to your hospital. What is your duty first? To kill him as an armed robber or to save his life? I asked that question too. And that's part of what the disciplinary chain is. Then at the end of the day, when you save his life, take him to that court where he is to be tried. And let the judge, even after you sentence him, if the judge feels so, sentence him to death. And even when the judge has sentenced him to death, it's not the final thing, because it will still come back to the governor to give that approval. And many of them don't even do so. Because at the end of the day, you are shorting the life which you didn't bring, where he did some infraction. Then you can keep him. That's where we always argue. But beyond that, let me tell you, I'm sitting here, and I've been here in the system. Many of us who come here to speak in public, they come behind to hamstring me and my civil servant and tell you this is my brother, this is this, and this is all. There's no consistency. But we try to balance it no matter how, because that's what we are there for, which is why I said we must put that in and put the hand in the fire.
Head of service.
I don't know. I didn't mean this. I didn't mean this. No. So you remember yesterday I said, why did you be helpful that you put yourself in our position? It is essential that we put ourselves in yours. And that's what we always try to do at every time. And please don't crucify us for that, because we are here to make sure that at the end of the day, it's good governance for everybody. Ultimate thing, good service to the citizens. I'm sorry I have to use this word, but that's the way I have to do. Thank you.
Sit. Thank you. Thank you. Please let's be quiet, please. Let's be quiet. Let's be quiet, please. Now, please let's be quiet. Thank you so much, head of service. What Okemwa meant, not just disciplinary. If you see, I mentioned a robust performance management framework. Let me be done. Robust means reward and sanctions. Please, sir. And I tied it to what Kingsley said. Kingsley said, you are doing well.
I take it to heart.
So, as you are doing well on your services, what is the yardstick of measurement? So, today you are at 70%. Do you want to get to 80%? For you to be good and give exceptional service and keep giving it, you must set a standard. Now, to achieve that standard, you must have systems and processes and policies to achieve the standard. They are saying, let us be a bit clearer on the standard and on the processes and procedures. Okay. So he's just saying, taking it to another level.
Yes.
So from him, he said you're working at. So robust performance management framework. I enacted it when he said it. That's what he meant.
Very good.
Reward and sanction. But I love the fact that you're working for your people. You can defend your people. That you can take the bullet for them. That is critical. Now, if I know that my commissioner can stand in the gap for me when I come with something, even if I'm wrong, he will come here aside later and kill me. But in the public, he will defend me. Then I will die for him. If the PS believes the commissioner can do that, the PS will be loyal. If the director believes that the PS can do that for him, the director will be loyal. The thing is, can you take a bullet for me? He mentioned bureaucracy. If the boss gave an instruction and the third level does it, and the middle level wants to become a heckler, the boss will go to the middle level and take responsibility. I gave him the instruction, crucify me. That's what I want to hear. And the passion in which he delivered now shows that he loves his people. He believes in his people. That's why there are shortcomings. He knows they have the potential to be the best. And that is how you don't throw away a bucket with the water in it and the child in it. No. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
We just need to round up right now. Thank you so much for
you.
this session, and I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Group photograph, group photograph. SSG, please come forward. Okay, Mo, please come forward. This is one of the most exciting sessions. Okay, please take your good photograph. We have another session coming up. Thank you very much. This has been an exciting session. Could you please bring back the podium? Let me invite the next panel. I had always known that this session will be this explosive. Let me invite the next panel. No, hold on a second. Can I have your attention? We would like to invite. Hello, the debate can continue later. Panelists, your time is over. Could you please take your seats? Head of service, okay, more. No, it's a distraction. Now, let me invite the panelists for the next session. Enhance peace and security. That will be the last panel discussion for this retreat. And the moderator will be Isioma Kemakolam. Isioma, please, could you step up? We're starting the next session. And on that panel, we will have the Special Advisor, Peace and Conflict Resolution, Edwin Uzo. We will have the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs, Honorable Princess Evangelist Pata Judua. I got it right. We would have Honorable Commissioner for Youth Development, Agbatiniro Weimi. We would have Special Advisor, Project Monitoring and Audit, Good News Agbi. We will now have Festus Ochonogo, Managing Director, Deso Padek. Moderator is Isioma Kemakolam. It's our choice. The last session took an hour, but it was worth the 1 hour. You will agree with me. But that means they have eaten deep into our time. So I'm going to make an effort to give them 30 minutes. Isioma, I hope you're able to deal with it in 30 minutes. If we need to give you extra time, we will negotiate that. Unfortunately, this panel needed to be allowed to exhaust all the issues. And you know, the point is that if you don't exhaust these issues, it's like a bottled up emotion. And I'm happy it is out in the open. The reason for all of this panel discussion is that we look at those stumbling blocks, bring out the issues that would inhibit implementation. So on that note, I'll hand over to Isioma.
Thank you. So we are here to bring peace and, of course, secure the hall. Yes, it was really hot, so we are very peaceful, and we ensure that we close up. And what a good way to actually wrap up this retreat with peace and security. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And for me, one key lesson from this retreat is that we are all one unit that makes up a whole. And since morning, when Ifeanyi called people to do a recap, and when they spoke about their experience, what resonates in all of their experiences was collaboration, coordination, synergy, and all of that. For me, what I see here is interconnectedness of all of the MDAs. When I say we are one unit that make up, the whole part of it. From your sessions in all of the thematic group, you would have seen how we are interconnected. And for me, if we didn't learn anything, if we are not taking anything away from this retreat, is that we have been able to sit down together, to listen to one another, to see how we impart on each other's, role. And it's on these notes that I welcome my panelists. We'll be talking on enhancing peace and security. And as they speak, you will see the interconnectedness within the MDAs. And of course, I would like to set a ground rule, please. Because of time, I will give us five minutes to respond to the question. So you quickly introduce yourself, and then you go straight to respond to the question, please. Bearing in mind your expected outputs, and then the KPI that we worked on, just to give you a reminder. I will not go in a particular order, but I will start with general, and then I'll go to specifics. So the general here will be for Chief Uzo, who is actually the SA, Peace and Conflict Resolution. Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
Yeah, so Chief Uzo, in Delta State, you may have noticed a growing population, I think it took its peak this year, when you see a lot of people with insecurity in the southeast, and then of course the imports in Lagos. You may have noticed a lot of growth here in Delta State. And wherever there is a growth in population, it comes with attendant issues of insecurity, and then of course conflicts, and all of that. And even prior to now, in our communities, I'm sure you are aware of the existing tensions, and of course communal violence. Sir, as an essay on peace and conflict resolution, how do you intend to use your good office to promote community cohesion as a response to crime and conflict prevention in Delta State?
Thank you very much. First of all, our commitment to this issue. One of the commitments of His Excellency is peace and security. To create the right atmosphere for economic life. And you also know that peace and security all over the world hinge on fairness, equity, and all-inclusiveness. Coming to promote community cohesion as a response to crisis and conflict prevention, we must establish a cordial relationship with traditional rulers, opinion leaders of the community, the youth, the women, all the people that matters. Because in doing that, we will be able to have firm control over preventing crises. Because information must come from them. We cannot just do it alone. Again, to reduce the threat from criminal gangs in our various communities, we have to build bridges across the universe, particularly communities with conflict-prone areas. We have to do that. Then improve collaboration, problem dynamics with relevant stakeholders and law enforcement agencies. These law enforcement agencies must be all embracing, including paraministries and other vigilante people in the various areas. Because without doing this, we cannot be able to get hold of our various communities. Then we have to improve collaboration with relevant stakeholders and the enforcement of security agents for easy information gathering and sharing. Because once we do this, it will be easier for us to know what is happening at various communities, how to skate through, how to get the right information, how to prevent conflict, and how to midwife how it will take to bring peace. Finally, we have to build a mechanism for early warning signals and early response. By doing this, we must know what is happening in various communities by keeping people there who informs of us when it's coming and when it's not coming, so that we'll be able to know the right direction to take. Also, government will make formal representation to community leadership by funding them, helping them. Because if government does not look into funding community leaderships in certain levels, there will be a kind of sabotaging the system, where what you are thinking, you will not get it. Because those people who are also helping you in combating crime and looking at peace stability, they are human beings. Whereby you neglect them, they will fall your hand and things will not go well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Uzo. Talking about sustaining or strengthening collaborative mechanisms, we will go to Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Women Affairs. And Honorable Commissioner, I would like to ask you a question around women, peace, and security, if you don't mind, ma'am. So the 4 pillars that underline women, peace, and security, agenda are participation, protection, prevention, and relief. Under His Excellency's commitment, that is commitment 1, which is to progressively upscale existing wealth creation program to lift the people of Delta out of poverty and create wealth. Honorable Commissioner Ma, in one of your outputs, you had indicated increased access to grants for women, MSMEs, and seed capital for retail business in response to commitment 1 of His Excellency under our thematic, the more agenda, that is enhancing peace and security. Please, can you talk us through how you plan to achieve this in support of women, peace, and security? Thank you.
Hello. Thank you very much. I am Honorable Evangelist Princess Pat Ajudua, Esquire. I'm the Honorable Commissioner for Women Affairs, Community and Social Development. The mandate of my ministry is very elaborate, amongst which are training, counseling, and empowering women. We also take care of destitutes, ex-lepers, the blind, those who drop out, those who are raped, gender-based cases, and so on and so forth, including adoption matters, to adopt children for families that are not happy and they need children. In this particular instance, we're talking about empowerment of women. How do we sustain peace or bring peace to families and security using the fourth leg of the more agenda of His Excellency. First and foremost, our output will be, and our interest in particular, will be how to increase the number of skilled and unskilled women, indigent women, to empower them through the women empowerment programs. This is very important because women play active roles in the economy of the state. Again, when these women are empowered, they bring food to the table, they ensure that peace comes to the family, and economically they are secure. When this is done, they will also contribute to the IGR of the state. Again, we have to increase the access to funds, particularly grants to women who are involved in micro, small, and medium enterprises, and again, retail funds, resources for retail businesses. When they gain this access, they will do well, and also that will bring peace to the society at large. We have various grants, for example, even from international organizations, from the United Nations, and we have counterpart funding, in which case the government puts in some money down, then United Nations and other organizations, similar organizations, they bring in the funds, and the money is later returned to the government. When these monies are used to empower these women, they do well. And when women are happy, there will be peace and security in the family and at large in the state. Then, the KPIs, that is, how do I know that these women have actually been empowered? How do I know that the empowerment has gone far, that they've been able to bring food to the table to help their families and change their livelihoods? This I will do by making sure that I document the number of women who have received the cash grant or cash support. When this is done, then this is the evidence. Besides, we'll also give an account or have the number of the women who have access to these grants we're talking about. We'll also follow up to ensure that they use the funds and the resources to take care of the children, that the children have access to good education, they have access to health facilities, and so on and so forth. When these are done, definitely there will be peace. And remember, the Bible says in Matthew chapter 5, verse 9, that blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God, or the sons of God. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner for Ministry of Women, Princess Dr. Ajudua. I will come back to you on in terms of monitoring these women with beneficiaries of your sweet grants. But before then, I would like to go to the MD, the SOPADEC, and the person of Festus Ochono. Sir, can you please tell us two of His Excellency's commitments under this agenda, enhancing peace and security, that stands out for you, and why?
Two of
Yes, commitment, yes.
Peace is very critical. You can't do anything without peace. You can also provide infrastructure without peace and without security. So this component of the MOA agenda is very critical. And interestingly, the state has done well in putting up a framework for management of this peace and security in the state. For us in the SOPADEC, which was established on the basis of this component, ensuring that we have peace, ensuring that we have security in oil-bearing communities, ensuring that we provide infrastructure, and also ensuring that we develop our human capacity. So these are three areas that led to establishment of the SOPADEC. We have, over time, tried to achieve this. But going forward,
in making sure we buy into this enhanced peace and security, there is an area that is very critical, and that is development of our capacity, particularly that of the youths. Why did I say so? Somehow, we say the state is the highest producer of crude oil and gas. How did we achieve that? It's because of the engagement, because of the modalities put in place to ensure that there is peace, there is security, and there is also improved engagement in the different, with different stakeholders in the oil-bearing communities, which has culminated in stability, tranquility in this region, and that has led to improved production of crude and gas in this area. A lot of investment has been made in security, and security, you don't talk about security in public. I know what government through the SOPATEC has also been doing in managing sustained security in this area. So we will try to continue that, but another area that we need to do to complement that is development of our youth. We have the SOPATEC Skill Academy, and the academy is to strengthen skill acquisition among our youth from that oil-bearing communities. But one area that we need to expand is expanding the different trade line that we have currently. We will find out that we don't have people that are working on the maritime studies. The usual computer is there, the usual design is, what is it called? Tailoring, fashion design, all those ones are there. But we need to expand a bit and make sure we bring in these maritime studies for our use in that area. Because we have found out that most of these people that are running that sector in our area, coastal area, they are not from Delta. And it will not be good for us. So it's an area that we need to develop, encourage our youth, so that gradually we'll have that manpower that will also be involved in that sector of the economy from that area.
Thank you very much, my MD. I'm just, it's same line with the same question I would like to ask our Honorable Commissioner for Women. I get weary when we talk about skill acquisition, empowerment, and all for the youth, for the women, tailoring, and all of that. And at the end of the day, most times we don't have data to show that maybe after 5 years of empowerment, that this person is still on that same, skill, and it has even expanded the trade, if it's trade. But we'll come to that. Before then, talking about youth, we'll just go straight to youth and development. And, disruptive innovation. I would like to talk about disruptive innovation, So this is a business model that adds something completely new in an industry. So for example, during the year of COVID, 2020, a lot of innovations came up in response to how people deliver and receive services. And just recently in Nigeria, during the Naira redesign, and of course the challenge of accessing funds, we also saw a disruptive innovation in how people are able to access their funds. I think that gave birth to OPay, PalmPay, and all of that. So now, bringing this model, I know you will be like, what has this got to do with the youth? But I know that you are familiar with Commitment 1, 2, 3 under Enhancing Peace and Security as the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Development. How would you encourage? Because in each case of this disruptive innovation, the question there is what consumers or clients are missing in the current design, So the SOPATEC has talked about trade, Commissioner for Women has also talked about empowerment, women, seed grant, and all of that. What is new? What is new? What are you bringing? What innovation are you bringing? And how would you encourage community youths to view, to view themselves differently from the way people view them? The general notion is that youths are those who partake in conflict or, perpetrators of crime and all of that. So how would you encourage communities and the youths in particular to view youth violence in a new light? And of course, ask disruptive questions on how can youth begin to prevent, conflicts.
Moderator, good afternoon, my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. As I've been rightly introduced, my name is Comrade Agbata Nirowayimi Isaac. I'm the Honorable Commissioner, Youth Development. Our moderator, it will interest you to hear from me that all of the solutions, the innovations that you are asking for have all been encapsulated in this new policy of the Ministry of Youth Development. This new policy is tagged the More YD E7 series. This is the policy that we intend to drive between 2023 and 2027. When we came into office, we felt that it was important that we approach all our issues scientifically. And there is no other better way to approach our issues scientifically without having a policy as a Ministry of Youth. And that is why we came up with this. The second one we are working on is the issue of data management in our ministry.
Very good.
As I'm sitting down here, we are mining all areas from the police end to the NDLEA to the prisons to want to see what our baselines are in terms of the numbers of youths that are involved in the various crimes and violence activities in the state. That to us will serve as our baseline upon which we will now develop our KPIs and move on from there to attend to the issues that you have raised. Most significantly, Moderator, it will interest you to note that in this More YD E7 series, although all the other areas are related, but essentially there is a component of engagement in this More YD E7 series, and that is the first thematic areas there. Then the sixth thematic area is tagged easing of crime and social vices. We intend to effectively mobilize the various components of this E7 series to see how we can bring peace and security to Delta State. Because without peace and security, there can be no meaningful development. And then when you talk about insecurity everywhere, the first thing that comes into mind is the youth. Moderator, you may be tempted to want to know from me, what is the demography of youth in Delta State? Currently, from the report of the Delta State Statistical Yearbook, the 2021 7th edition, the population of the entire state is placed at 6,050,117. Then the population of youth is placed by that same document at 2,828,101. This is about 46.75% of the entire population of Delta State. Because by virtue of our background as scientists, if we don't do things empirically, it will be difficult for us to evaluate, it will be difficult for us to monitor, it will be difficult for us to manage. So this being known, of course, it will also interest you to hear from me that this is for those that are between the age of 15 and 29. Then when you consider the peculiarity of our environment, where you have those that are far above this age, still functioning and being active as youth, it may therefore not be out of place to say that the population of this demography in our entire population hovers around 60%. And that is what we have been saddled with the responsibility to manage. So we hope that through this very effective engagement of stakeholders. When I mean stakeholders, because unknown to some persons, what some of our youth do is they are only being reactional to their environment, to what is happening in their environment.
Yeah.
So most times when there are issues, before you see them take to violence, before you see them take to violent protest, the first thing they do is that civilizedly they will write. But we have found out that when they write to some of these companies, majority of these companies, they don't call them for meetings. And when they don't call them for meeting, they will now graduate from that level of civilized approach to addressing issues to the second level, which is protest. It will start first as a peaceful protest. If it is not managed at that level, it may graduate to the worst level, which is violent protest. And that is where eventually, where it comes to the attention of most persons that the youths are this, the youths are that. If as at the first stage when they wrote, and they were listened to, they were invited.
So we'll just round off so that.
So I'm rounding up now. So in the course of our stakeholder engagement, we're not going to limit our engagement to only the youth. We will bring all the relevant stakeholders, the companies, the security agencies, the traditional rulers, and the youth together, so that they can speak in a language that they will all understand. Because if you do it in an isolated manner, the problem will not be solved. All of that have been captured in this more widely E7 series. And that was why I said that it is through the effective mobilization and deployment of this more widely E7 series, an enabling environment will be created to enhance peace and security in Delta State. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner, Youth, Sports and Development. Youth and Development, thank you very much. Because of our time, sir, I will just give you 2 minutes to respond to this question. Sir, okay, so I'm talking to, so this will be to the SA, Special Advisor, Project Monitoring and Audits, Mr. Good News Agbe. Sir, with Agenda 4 in mind, how will you ensure that communities are provided with adequate information, tools, and opportunity to make informed decisions about the future of development projects that have direct impacts on their livelihood?
Thank you very much, moderator. Well, peace or lack of peace, one of those things that are causing these conflicts in most of these communities. And amongst other things is the lack of infrastructure or lack of projects that impact in the life of the community. If, for example, just like our governor is doing now, is trying to reach every community in the state with roads. Now you discover that the road leading to your place is being constructed, has been constructed before, and the next rainy season is washed away. The other time again, you see people coming again to want to do the same construction. You will find out, the youth in that area will find out that they are being shortchanged because somebody is eating their money. This one will lead to what we call youth restlessness. So what do we do in the Directorate of Infrastructure? We assist the government in trying to ensure that the projects are done to the quality and to what we are talking of, the more agenda. If, for example, a bridge leads to a community, the bridge has been there, it's not completed, or the bridge is completed, after a year or two, the bridge collapses, the community will not have access to the main market. So what happened? They feel the anger builds up that the government is not looking at their side, whereas the government has given out money, the government has awarded, and the project, the cost of that is not from the government, but from the contractors. So we in the Directorate of Project Monitoring is to ensure that these projects we monitor these projects and we audit it. Auditing in the sense that we look at the BEME of that project, the drawing, and we find out, we'll check whether it is commensurate with what is in the design. If it is not, we try to, we make sure that they do it according to what is in the design. Why are we doing this? If the youth find out that projects are being constructed in their places, the projects are completed, there's a town hall is completed, there's a rural road is completed and stand the test of time. It's not a seasonal road where they will come and do it after any season is washed away.
Yeah.
Of course, this will mitigate the youth restlessness in that area. They will know that the government has their attention. The government is aware of what is happening to them. Let's take, for example, like one of the panelists said yesterday, a project that was cited, I think Bomondi or so, by the Commissioner of Finance. He said the project was along the line abandoned, whereas it was paid for. If the youth come to be aware that the project is meant to be in their place and somebody assisting the money, the day the government comes, or maybe as somebody said yesterday, 2007, they start moving again, you get to that community, they will be pelting you with pure water that you didn't do anything. Whereas it's not the fault of the government. It's not the fault of the MORE agenda. So we are here to enforce it, to be sure that projects that are being churned out are projects that stand the test of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to, although I have second round of questions, but because our time is up, do we have, how many minutes more do we have? Okay, I will summarize. Okay, thank you. I will summarize. So, starting from Chifuzo. Chifuzo talked about collaborative security, partnership, and then, of course, talking about partnership with community organizations, and, of course, conflict frameworks. And then, of course, Honorable Commissioner for Women, Dr. Ajudua, recognizes that women must be critical actors in all efforts to achieve sustainable peace and security, and that will be improving their livelihood.